as the top bully in military academy. Getting outed as an Omega by my arch nemesis was the ultimate humiliation. To keep him quiet, I became Ryan's errand boy. When assassination attempts left him injected with induction serums and spiraling into rut cycle, they dragged me kicking and screaming to his quarters. The moment I pushed open his door, violent pheromones engulfed me. Ryan, the ice-cold combat champion who'd never shown vulnerability, stared up with glassy eyes, his voice cracking like a wounded animal's whimper. "John, I need you. We've been at each other's throats since entering the military prep school. While I built my gang of delinquents and patrolled campus with baseball bats, Ryan quietly collected combat medals. Our rivalry escalated from sabotaging each other's competitions to full-blown trench warfare. Parents compared us constantly, my folks nagging, 'Why can't you be disciplined like Ryan?' While his parents sighed, we wish he was outgoing like John. Everything changed when the school medic dropped the bombshell with clinical detachment. 'Congratulations, Mr. Wilson. Your secondary gender test confirms Omega designation.' Ryan stood arms crossed nearby, his smirk sharper than bayonet blades. Nothing compared to the shame of being carried princess-style into the infirmary by my lifelong rival. Our feud included everything from laxative-spiked pre-match drinks to him ratting out my fight club meetings to my parents. Now this. Don't go jumping off buildings. Ryan drawled, flexing his S-tier alpha biceps. Protecting fragile Omegas is basic alpha responsibility. I swatted away his offered hand, legs trembling from post-presentation weakness. Stumbling forward, the room spun with dizzying peach blossom scent, my damn Omega pheromones flooding the space. Ryan didn't even flinch. The bastard. Going out like this? He nodded at the scent-saturated room. Want the whole battalion knowing their tough guy leaders presenting as Omega? Gritting my teeth, I dropped to my knees in the most humiliating grovel of my life. "Ryan, please. Christ, wipe that pathetic look off your face. I'll do anything. Just keep this secret." His combat boot tapped thoughtful rhythm against the floor. "Anything." The predatory gleam in his eyes made my survival instinct scream. "We'll start with you moving into my quarters." My rut cycle's approaching. Before I could protest, his calloused palm clamped around my wrist. "Relax. This alpha takes excellent care of what's his." The low growl in his voice sparked strange heat low in my belly, and for the first time, I feared this game might break me. He leaned down, slightly closing the distance between us. His gaze suddenly turned wolfish, pinning me in place until my entire body trembled. Holy hell, so this was the legendary oppressive aura of a top-tier alpha. The Academy's first admission rule banned Omegas. Not out of prejudice, but because Omegas were too rare and Fragilito handled daily extreme training. They stood no chance against alphas releasing pheromones during rut cycles. But I refused to accept it. After years striving to become Supreme General, I wouldn't let my secondary gender ruin everything. Miraculously, the school doctor, my father's former subordinate, caved when I threatened to choke him. He agreed to keep my secret and provided scent, masking suppressants. As for Ryan, though he'd also promised silence, ulterior motivas, my suspicions proved right. The moment I stepped off training grounds, his message flashed, "Move into my dorm." No. Newly presented Omega hormones magnified every emotion. His commanding tone made my eyes sting. Who did he think he was? Not my alpha, that's for sure. I ignored the text and joined my crew for basketball, letting physical exertion drown out the chaos. "Captain," my roommate elbowed me mid-dribble. "When are we taking Ryan down?" Headache materialized. Ryan had presented earlier. Crown S Class Alpha and future General upon enrollment. I'd been his only rival, the S-Class prodigy, who'd surpass Ryan according to my overzealous crew. Now this prodigy could barely stand under his phenomenal assault. "Lieutenant exams are coming." I deflected. "Lalo." The court erupted. "You're kidding. Someone fumbled the ball. He put dead rats in your lunch last week." "Yeah. Captain's been off since the infirmary. Did Ryan do something to you? I scrambled for the ball, hiding trembling fingers. Scared of that trash? Please. Right? Our captain's gonna be S-class elite. God, make it stop. Who's trash? I see arrogance cut through the noise. Oud and sandalwood pheromones crashed over me like tidal waves. My knees buckled. Even other alphas recoiled from the S-class onslaught. WTF? Captain, control your rival. Someone shouted. No Omega's here. Why's he sent blasting? Punch his pretty face. Captain, trembling. I forced myself toward Ryan. His pheromones shredded my resolve. Every cell screaming to submit. Heat engulfed me as hard arms locked around my waist. Such a stubborn little Omega. His velvet growl vibrated against my neck. Why fight it? I felt like I was walking on clouds. My steps unsteady. When my senses finally cleared, I realized Ryan had carried me along with my luggage into his dorm room, the single-occupancy suite reserved for ranked alphas. Compared to my cramped quad, this place was obscenely spacious, complete with a kitchenette and living area. During freshman orientation, I bragged, who needs this show-off pad? I'll be living here soon enough. Well, fate's a bitch. Just not in the way I'd imagined. Stay put if you don't want this getting out. Ryan threatened. That infuriating smirk plastered across his face. Perfect. Thought he had me figured out. Just wait till he tries evicting me later. To provoke him, I kicked off my shoes and marched barefoot across his pristine floors before flopping onto his king-size bed. Ranked alphas were notoriously territorial, especially about their nests. No way he'd tolerate an Omega invading his personal space uninvited. Trying to piss me off? Jean? His eyes narrowed as he leaned closer, the cold amusement in his voice making my skin prickle. Know what happened to the last Omega who got caught here? Some idiot thought he could sneak into the academy. His roommate discovered him, claimed him with multiple bites, knocked him up so thoroughly they couldn't even identify the father. Expelled before the morning sickness kicked in, Ryan's calloused hand closed around my ankle, dragging me toward him until his thumb found the sensitive dip of my waist. I shuddered involuntarily. Get the picture now. His breath ghosted over my ear. Still want to waddle back to your dorm with a swollen belly? Damn it. He really did have me cornered. The single bed left no room for negotiation. Ranked alphas don't sleep on floors. And delicate Omegas certainly don't. We'd be sharing whether we liked it or not. What masochistic impulse made Ryan choose this mutually destructive strategy? I sprawled across most mattress real estate, sleeping like the dead, which made it extra tragic when my crew came busting through Ryan's door at dawn, kicking the reinforced steel like overeager SWAT. These idiots. I could weep. Couldn't they have waited 2 more hours? There I was, clinging to Ryan in full view. The pillow barrier had vanished. The academy's poster boy for propriety lay shirtless beneath me, uniform buttons scattered like confetti. Let me explain, my brain short-circuited searching for plausible excuses. My gang dropped to their knees, tears glistening. Boss, you fought this bastard all night for our honor. Tore his clothes off and everything. That's our leader. You okay? Cap, did you wipe the floor with him? I felt Ryan's suppressed laughter vibrating through the mattress. Can't blame them. Tell any student Ryan and John shared a bed. They'd call you delusional. Easier to believe alphas could get pregnant than those two surviving a night together. Ryan propped himself up, tousled hair and raised eyebrow, radiating lethal nonchalance. Do you understand the penalty for barging into a top alpha's quarters unannounced? Shit. Military tribunal charges. Espionage allegations. Court-martial. Touch them and I'll end you. Right. My voice shook with fury. I grabbed Ryan's collar and shook him. The white silk robe slipped down the blankets, gradually revealing the powerful physique he'd been hiding. My eyes nearly popped out of my head. Damn. This guy actually wanted to secretly impress everyone with his gains. All those previous wrestling matches must have been him playing along. So much for being evenly matched with those explosive muscles. He could have knocked me out with one punch. Ahem. Any chance I could take back what I said earlier? We'll follow you to the death, boss. The lackey sniffled. Yeah. Why don't you start by dying then? A wise man knows when to retreat. I tried bolting, but Ryan's hand shot out. With barely any effort, he yanked me back onto the bed, right on top of him in the most compromising position. Suspiciously convenient. If he's faking it, two can play that game. I waved off the underlings. Scram. I'll handle this. The door clicked shut. 2 attempts to crawl away ended with me collapsing onto Ryan's chest. Resorting to headbutts now that you can't win? He chuckled, effortlessly sitting up while steadying my waist like handling a temperamental kitten. Humiliation didn't even begin to cover it. I shoved away and tossed him a shirt from the closet. Got some exhibitionist kink. Cover up at night. Ryan's gaze lingered on me, those piercing eyes making my scalp prickle. From now on. What? I snapped. He leaned closer, enunciating each word. At school. Stay away from me to keep up appearances. The low laugh that followed carried dangerous undertones. We had a deal. Don't tell me you're backing out already. My guard shot up. Meaning? I want you glued to my side every second. You're insane. Ryan shrugged lazily. All innocence. You could always resist. I just wonder how your little gang would react when they find out our fiercely competitive young Master John is actually an Omega. Bastard. The training field baked under brutal sunlight. Ryan dominated the sparring ring, combat clothes straining against his muscles. Another opponent hit the dirt wailing. I crushed my water bottle. There was a time I ruled these mats too. Now this Omega body could barely handle UV rays. Pathetic. Suddenly a shadow fell across my face. My expression softened instinctively until I saw Ryan smirk. Jean? Where's my water? The jackass knew damn well. I kicked away the plastic shreds at my feet. Cheers erupted as I stood. Punch his lights out. Boss. Show him who's boss. Bless my soul for having you geniuses around. These morons actually thought I'd challenge him. Ryan's eyes glinted. Since they're so eager, shall we give them a show? Ryan leaned close, his breath brushing my earlobe as he chuckled. His lips grazed my skin in a way that made my pulse stutter. Before I could speak, he drew back with exaggerated disappointment. He dragged out the syllable, drawing bewildered stares from our squad mates. I clapped my hand over his mouth. Effective immediately. I announced, all anti-Ryan operations cease. Alphas must maintain unity for Imperial stability. The group erupted in disbelief. My glare silenced them. Peace. Understood? Their reluctant okay hand signs finally eased the tension in my chest. This détente lasted exactly 3 days. Ryan demanded I secure his library seats at dawn. He expected me as his hydration pack during mountain sprints. Even his broccoli found its way onto my tray. Waste not. He'd smirk while I choked down the greens. The campus buzzed about my noble sacrifice for the Empire, spawning an embarrassing fan club of stir-eyed alphas. You're thriving, Ryan commented dryly as another admirer scurried away. Want trade places? I snapped, my nose wrinkling at the conflicting pheromones. Being an Omega among alphas felt like wading through a perfume counter. The lieutenant trials loomed 3 days scaling a predator-infested mountain laced with traps. As an Omega, brute, forcing victory against Ryan was impossible. Strategy became my weapon. My gaze drifted to his angular profile as we trekked. Even swift-streaked, Ryan carried himself like runway model meets war criminal. His concealed scent gland pulsed faintly. I dismissed the dangerous thought. Seducing this particular alpha would end in humiliation. Victory meant everything. My grandmother, the Academy's first Omega lieutenant, proved it possible. That rank granted immunity. even for defective cadets like me. No more kowtowing to Ryan's whims. During equipment checks, Lucas found me gulping water beneath a pine. His earthy alpha must turn my stomach. "Boss," he panted, oblivious to my discomfort. The mug-caked lackey launched into his report. Unaware of the grenade pin he just pulled from our fragile truce. "Why does your pheromone smell like that?" The memory of Ryan's sandalwood scent involuntarily surfaced. Though reluctant to admit it, the fragrance was undeniably intoxicating. "Wait, John. I thought top-tier alphas couldn't detect lower-grade pheromones?" Lucas eyed me suspiciously, his gaze drifting toward the gland I desperately tried to conceal beneath my collar. I haven't fully presented yet. If he exposed me now, everything would be ruined. Ryan approached, his large hand gripping my nape, a gesture that should have felt threatening. Yet I relaxed. He was helping me maintain the charade. Lucas immediately straightened up. "Let go of my boss." Dozens of eyes turned our way. "For God's sake, shut your trap already. Don't you cadets know unauthorized pheromone dispersal is a federal offense?" Ryan's glacial tone made Lucas pale. The younger man stammered. "It's the drill instructor's orders, John. Some Omega tried hiding their status during pre-match screening. They told me to trigger their presentation." My blood ran cold. They might as well have called my name. I tugged Ryan's sleeve urgently. "Surprised, John?" Ryan's smirk held dangerous edges. Final gender verification sweeps always happen before tournaments. Even Wilson family heirs should know fresh Omegas often try slipping through. Maintaining my fakest smile, I dragged Ryan into nearby woods before hissing. "Tell me how to bypass the screening." "No. Why should I help someone who's not my Omega?" "Ryan, don't push your luck. Is this how Wilson's beg?" His thumb brushed my pulse point. "My rut's approaching. Maybe that mystery Omega's scent grade could be useful." I caught his retreating arm, whispering through gritted teeth. When he leaned in mockingly, I ripped off my gland concealer. Ripe peach sweetness exploded through the air, summer's juiciest nectar dripping down sun-warmed skin. Pulling my collar aside, I bared vulnerable flesh to his lips. "Since your rut's coming, we're brothers, right?" Temporary marked me. I squeezed my eyes shut, missing his crimson-flared gaze. "You realize what you're offering." His palm cradled my skull with predator's possession. "You brought this on yourself, John." The piercing sting came without warning. I yelped. "Wait, too late to back out now." His growl vibrated against my neck. "Knew the risks when baiting an elite alpha." I meant provisional marking, not full. My protest died as icy hot venom flooded my veins. Every nerve ignited, consciousness dissolving into white static. So this was being claimed. When my knees buckled, Ryan caught me against his chest. He lingered after the venom's peak, lips brushing the fresh bite in devastating tenderness. Uncontrollable tears smeared his uniform sleeve, humiliating Omega submission reflexes. "Did I hurt?" he began, uncharacteristically flustered. "Don't say another word." Mortification burned hotter than the mark. At this rate, I'd dig through the planet's crust to vanish. Ryan's chuckle rumbled beneath my cheek. "Relax, Peach. Your secret's safe off for now." The bastard was enjoying this. "Don't worry. It's just a temporary mark. I won't touch you again without your consent." Though meant as reassurance, my mind veered elsewhere. Ryan was an S-Class Alpha, destined to bond with an S-Class Omega boasting near-perfect compatibility. Why would he permanently mark someone like me on a whim? Do whatever. I shoved him away, irritation flaring inexplicably. The drill instructor had halted attribute screenings. Chaos engulfed the formation as betas wielding syringes intervened. "What's happening?" I stopped a white-coated beta. Recognizing me, he snapped to attention. "Mr. John." The captured Omega's S-Class. He released massive pheromone bursts to escape. triggering early ruts in multiple alphas. The general suspects enemy sabotage targeting these trials. We're conducting full sweeps to ensure no accomplices remain. Forcing a smile, I released the beta's arm. So when Ryan mentioned entering rut earlier, S-class omega pheromones overwhelmed standard suppressants. That temporary mark wasn't just using me as an errand boy. I become his goddamn backup plan. Seething, I glared. Well, you promised to conceal my status if I let you mark me. His lips quirked. With that temper, what alpha would want you anyway? Ethan defied expectations, a golden-haired vision trembling in soiled clothes. Chains clinking as he lunged toward me. Sir, I'm innocent. Youthful features twisted in desperation. He resembled a kicked stray seeking shelter. Ryan yanked me backward. Don't let that filth touch you. I scoffed. This exquisite creature made my omega instincts hum. Yet the alpha beside me remained unmoved. Typical Ryan, destined to die alone. John, damn this omega biology. Why couldn't omegas bond? Modern science should have invented gender reassignment surgeries by now. A boot slammed into my knees. My father's thunderous glare loomed above. Both he and Mr. Clark stood flanking the general, proof this disaster warranted top brass attention. Where's your alpha awareness? I called you 3 times. Ryan's hand steadied me, oozing false concern. Uncle, John's been pushing hard for that lieutenant promotion. Probably fatigue. Bastard. My father's expression softened upon seeing Ryan. Such a waste. If you were Omega, I'd force this idiot to marry you at gunpoint. Mr. Clark snorted. Your son's the real tragedy. Were he Omega, I'd retire just to have Ryan claim him properly. The words were casually spoken, but struck a chord. If you ask why I'm fighting tooth and nail to stay at this academy, blame my hot-headed old man. His lifelong ambition has been to outdo the Clark family patriarch. That's why Ryan and I have been at each other's throats since childhood. If I could make Ryan marry me, maybe he'd finally relinquish his position as second in command. Then my father would lose his rival overnight. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Everyone wins. My brilliant plan shattered before the general finished speaking. Ryan, we'll conduct compatibility screening. If the results are favorable, you'll take this Omega as your mate and train them properly. By all rights, such a rare Omega should have suitors lining up even if Ryan declined. Yet the general offered them to Ryan first, the ultimate show of confidence. No, absolutely not. Out of the question. Never. Our families really were synchronized in the strangest ways. The general looked genuinely perplexed, scanning our 4 stone-faced expressions. His well-intentioned gesture had somehow united sworn enemies in outrage. My reasons were selfish. If that rumored Omega to Alpha conversion serum ever materialized, letting this beauty get stuck with emotionally constipated Ryan would be criminal. As for the other 3 objectors, only they knew their true motives. The captured Omega sniffed their wrist in confusion. Prime genetic material. Why was everyone acting repulsed? My father stepped forward. My son's an alpha too. Why isn't he being screened? Bless his meddling soul. Mr. Clark countered. Your brat hasn't even fully presented yet. General, my son is reserved for John. Let the others fight over this Omega. Assign them to my boy. My father insisted. In your dreams. Mr. Clark scoffed. Ryan and I exchanged glances, wordlessly retreating from our father's escalating spat. The Omega was escorted to temporary quarters as the general ordered renewed screenings to prevent oversight before finalizing the lieutenant's selection. My nerves felt like they'd been through a wood chipper. Just in me already. When the beta approached with a hormone-triggering serum that would expose any Omega through forced heat, I nearly bolted. He paused before me, whispering, John? In desperation. I shot Ryan a pleading look, then remembered our rivalry. Of course, he'd savor my downfall. As I resignedly extended my arm, Ryan suddenly closed the distance. His arms caged me in a faux embrace, expertly blocking observers. Rolling up his sleeve to reveal corded muscle, he pressed our forearms together. My pulse skyrocketed. Damn traitorous omega biology, flushing my cheeks at mere contact. Ryan's gaze turned glacial. John has needle phobia. A single glance made the beta instinctively obey. The sharp needle pierced skin as cold medicinal fluid disappeared into flesh. I watched the beta excitedly turn to the examiner. Lips pressed tight. No abnormalities. Relief flooded me. Why is he so thrilled? Your man? Ryan naturally reached to touch my flushed cheek. Feeling unwell. You're burning up. I stammered incoherently before fleeing, with the incident delaying lieutenant candidate selection by 24 hours. I reached the mountainside supply station the following evening. My usual entourage trailed behind, 3 loyal followers led by Lucas. Ryan maintained his signature distance. Neither too close nor far. Oh, Ryan's shadowing you. He's definitely plotting something. Lucas hissed, face more agitated than mine as I chewed a steamed bun. Swallowing water. I mumbled. He wouldn't. Remember last month's combat trials? His lackey tried putting nails in your boots. If you hadn't noticed. Lucas's throat bobbed. Others nodded vehemently. A test tube materialized before me. Inducing agent formulated for S-tier alphas. Explain. Lucas leaned closer. All those weeks gaining his trust, here's the payoff. Make him drink this before summit ascent. Forced rut without omega relief. His grin turned feral. The lieutenant position is yours. The vial burned my palm. Spotting Ryan's approaching figure, I shoved it into my pocket. Enough. Ryan bulldozed through protests, hauling me behind storage crates. Something warm and fragrant hit my chest, a freshly roasted pheasant. You cooked this already? I offered a drumstick. Omegas need nourishment. Alphas don't. No wonder he repelled every omega with that mouth. I took an angry bite. Ignoring my glare, Ryan knelt and pushed up my pant leg. What are you? Stay still. His iron grip immobilized my ankle. The revealed wound made me wince, length gash with raw flesh exposed, still oozing blood from my earlier stumble onto jagged branches. I'd hidden it perfectly. Or so I thought. Silence injuries now. Fury roughened his voice. Lieutenant rank over survival? His transformation stunned me. Locked him out during monsoons. No reaction. Smashed his prize via indifference. Destroyed warship blueprint. Mere shrugs. Yet now, I met volcanic ice. Terrifying. Perhaps it was the innate omega submission to alpha that made me soften my tone. I'll be more careful next time. I'm just worried if I don't make second lieutenant, my old man might have a heart attack when he finds out I'm an omega. How about letting me take the second lieutenant position? Do me a solid? Ryan pressed his lips together, ignoring me. He pulled disinfectant from his pocket to clean my wound, applying bandages with meticulous care. His messy bangs shadowed eyes that transformed his roguish features into something unexpectedly noble. The serum Lucas gave me rested in my back pocket. He could have easily discovered it when reaching for supplies. Yet his focus remained entirely on treating my injury. Later, when Lucas eagerly asked if I'd gotten my chance to sabotage him, I remembered how he'd orchestrated previous clashes between Ryan and me through covert provocations. Something wrong, boss? Lucas shifted uncomfortably under my scrutiny. I smiled, clapping his shoulder. When this works out, you'll get proper recognition. His relief was palpable. That second lieutenant rank is yours for the taking. As Lucas said, top-tier alphas entering rut cycle become impervious to suppressants. Only omega intervention stabilizes them. Without timely intervention, even routine tasks become impossible for alphas in full rut, let alone combat evaluations. With Ryan being my main competitor for promotion, his incapacitation would practically guarantee my advancement. The temptation proved irresistible. That night I slipped into Ryan's bunk while others slept. When he moved to kick me out, I clung like a koala to his arm. Need to tell you something. Maintaining this embarrassingly intimate position prevented sudden movements that might wake neighboring soldiers. Our proximity let me feel the thunderous rhythm of his heartbeat beneath tactical gear. I think Lucas is trying to sabotage you. Not that I'm involved, but this serum he gave me. I rambled through my suspicions about the accelerated rut-inducing formula, waiting for his reaction. Instead, he fixated on entirely different matters. Do you understand what presenting your scent gland to an alpha in prime condition signifies? Before I could respond, the world flipped. Pinned beneath him, moonlight revealed storm clouds swirling in those arrogant eyes. Shit. Since when did brothers start eyeing each other like this? Focus on the serum. Man, someone's targeting you. My feeble attempts to push his hand away from my nape proved useless against alpha strength. What alpha would refuse an omega delivering himself? Ryan's scorching gaze traveled my face as he easily restrained me. Ryan, please not here. Others might hear. My voice cracked. Later, I swear. His pupils dilated dangerously at the suggestion. Fuck. Teasing only made him more aroused. Large hands spanned my waist as feather-like kisses descended from forehead to jawline. Electric shivers destroyed my resolve. Worst of all, surprisingly, I didn't feel any aversion to his closeness. Out of spite, I bit down hard on his shoulder, leaving a deep tooth mark. Ryan didn't even flinch. Instead, his entire face lit up with amusement. This absolute freak bore no resemblance to a top-tier alpha. Just as one of the junior recruits went to use the bathroom, he called out twice when he couldn't find me. I hastily fastened my belt and bolted from the bed. 20 contestants had reached the final elimination round. Lucas stayed on the sidelines with the younger recruits since they were only here to support me. The remaining competitors of comparable skill levels engaged in one-on-one matches, with the ultimate victor facing Ryan in combat. I suddenly realized Lucas might have been right. Taking down a prime alpha required underhanded tactics. I dispatched the other opponents with ease until it came time to face Ryan. He strode into the arena wearing tactical gear, his posture military precise. The crowd erupted in frenzied cheers as eliminated cadets, transported via safety vehicles, chanted our names from the spectator platform. Everyone's eyes were glued to this final showdown. My knees chose that moment to betray me. Go easy or I'll tell my dad you roughed me up. I bluffed. Ryan's lips curved in that infuriating half-smile. Begging works better between the sheets. Sweetheart. I launched into a flurry of punches and sweeps. But Ryan dodged like he was playing with a kitten, lazily evading every move, even holding back. He had me retreating across the mat. Just as he moved to pin me, Ryan suddenly clutched his stomach and collapsed, face contorted in agony. The instructor's whistle shrilled. Medics rushed forward with emergency kits. Critical situation. Prime Alpha's been poisoned. We need immediate medical evacuation. Chaos replaced the earlier excitement. Who'd dare poison a top alpha? Everyone knows John's hated Ryan for years. Why is he suddenly cozying up now? Ignoring the speculation, I helped load Ryan onto the stretcher. The instructor demanded silence, vowing to punish the perpetrator. I was boarding the ambulance when a voice rang out. Wait, I know who did it. My heart sank as Lucas stepped from the crowd, basking in the attention. It was John, he announced with theatrical gravitas. He spiked Ryan's water with performance-enhancing drugs to secure the lieutenant position. Bullshit. I lunged at him, but got restrained. Check his bag. Lucas insisted. The vial's still there. Within minutes, security produced a small empty test tube for my gear, slightly different from the one he'd given me, but close enough. The test results confirm it's Alpha's inhibitor. The moment the investigator spoke these words, Lucas lost his composure. Impossible. That should have been Ryan, who'd been feigning unconsciousness nearby. Abruptly sat up. Should have been what? The poison meant for me that somehow turned into suppressants? Lucas gasped. How are you unharmed? That useless John couldn't even. Ryan lunged forward, smashing Lucas' face into the concrete floor, combat boot grinding against his skull. Who's useless? You orchestrated this whole scheme just to watch us destroy each other while you waltz into the lieutenant position, didn't you? Ethan? I nodded along until Ryan said that name. Ethan was the enemy's top assassin. What was he doing here? Idiot. Ryan scoffed. I recognized his disguise the first day at the academy. Only you'd keep a venomous snake as your pet. My jaw clenched. Did you just call me stupid? Our drill sergeant, now immune to our bickering, motioned guards to haul away Luca, or rather, Ethan in reinforced restraints. Top assassin but can't throw a decent punch. Pathetic. At the victory banquet, I raised my glass only to meet my parents' disapproving stares. This is why you shouldn't trust every sob story. Ryan could dismantle you with one arm. Abandoning my stake, I fled to the courtyard. Warm cedarwood scent announced Ryan's presence before his voice did. What's troubling my favorite Omega? The tenderness made my eyes burn. I swiped at traitorous tears. Congratulations on the promotion. He deserved it. The man could disarm bombs while reciting military code. But when that porcelain-faced Omega from the mountain raid appeared, the one with liquid amber eyes and mint-infused pheromones, my stomach churned. Mr. Clark. The youth purred, fingers brushing Ryan's wrist. I've been searching everywhere for you. The military council had ordered Ryan to evaluate this captured enemy asset. Fake sweetness dripped from the boy's voice. Mr. Wilson. What a surprise. I left before witnessing their mating dance. That night, my sheets became prison bars. Were they bonding right now? Ryan never reacted to my citrus scent. Not even during that medical bay incident. Maybe defective Omegas like me couldn't compete. When my parents found me cocooned in misery, I growled through the blankets. Go away. Migraine. The lie tasted bitter, but not as bitter as imagining Ethan's smug grin if he succeeded in stealing everything. Go back to sleep? What do you mean, go back to sleep? Father roared impatiently. Ryan Clark's rut cycle has started and he's completely losing control. I scrambled into my clothes. Doesn't he have that premium Omega? Mother remained calm. That's precisely the problem. Ryan not only ripped out his scent gland, but killed him outright. What? Because Ethan Moore, the enemy's top assassin, was actually that Omega. He injected Ryan with a pheromone inducer when his guard was down. Without Omega intervention, Ryan will die. The words hit me like thunder. My pulse quickened. But I'm not an Omega. My voice trailed off weakly. Father kicked my chair. You think my intelligence network is worthless? Turns out our school doctor had reported my secondary gender months ago. They say Omegas marked by powerful alphas get special permits to attend military academies. Really? I could keep my scholarship. Let me make this clear. This isn't about Ryan. I just want to finish my education. Pure academic dedication. My parents exchanged glances. Of course, dear. No fragile Omega in the Empire could match my desperate sprint through the storm. When I reached the Clark estate, the overwhelming scent of Outwood hit me from 3 blocks away. Betas swarmed me like drowning men clutching driftwood. But Ryan's pheromones had turned my legs to jelly. General Clark barked orders as betas carried me inside. Who'd expect the enemy's deadliest blade to be an Omega? Honestly, neither did I. What an icon. The usually indomitable Ryan huddled pathetically with my old jacket, whimpering like a wounded animal. John, I need you. Who knew ruts made alphas this vulnerable? I nearly pulled out my phone to immortalize this moment. Remnants of human decency won out. As betas dumped me at the bedroom door, claiming they didn't want to interrupt, I tore open my scent gland. Ryan's brief moment of clarity had him lunging across the room. Thank God, I couldn't have crawled an inch. I said temporary, Mark. Screw temporary. After 2 days of negotiations, Ryan mercifully left me alive but feverish for 3 days, bedridden for weeks. No Omega withstands an S-tier alpha unscathed. Since the permanent bonding, Ryan's rut cycles became suspiciously frequent. Sometimes I wonder if he let Ethan inject him on purpose. You're a lieutenant colonel. Don't you have duties? Ryan's lips brush my ear. Stormcloud eyes darkening. Attending to them now. Get the hell off. I need hospital removal. Too late. Sweetheart. 100% compatibility means no surgeon in this empire would touch you. Wait. If I match an S-class alpha? Ryan's laughter rumbled against my skin. Means we're shackled together for life. John. After presenting as an Omega, I was marked by my arch-rival. The scent of burnt cedarwood invaded my senses as John pressed his palm against the bullet wound on my abdomen. His family's private physician adjusted the foredrip containing specialized inhibitors, muttering about reckless young alphas under his breath. Across the emergency room's frosted glass, I glimpsed Ryan arguing with security personnel from the Clark family's private military division, his customized Beretta PX-4 still smoking from recent combat. Lucas' vital signs are stabilizing, the nurse announced, wiping blood from the cardiac monitor. My vision blurred as the cocktail of painkillers and hormonal suppressants took effect. The last thing I remember before losing consciousness was John's storm, gray eyes narrowing at the security footage showing Ethan's motorcycle disappearing into the dockside warehouses, our supposed ally from last month's border negotiations, now revealed as the mastermind behind this ambush. 3 days later, the Wilson family's penthouse reeked of conflicting pheromones. Ryan tossed a dossier onto the marble coffee table. Satellite images showing Ethan's underground lab near the old steel mills. The Clark's intelligence network confirms he's been synthesizing synthetic pheromone enhancers, he said, fingers tapping the customized Smith & Wesson at his hip. Enough to destabilize the entire Northeast territory. John's knuckles whitened around his tumbler of single malt. We move at midnight. His gaze locked onto the faint claiming bite visible beneath my collar. The Taylor's chemical plant blueprints. Can you access them? I nodded, pulling up holographic schematics on my wrist console. The three of us began planning the raid, unaware that Ethan had already implanted tracking nanobots in our bloodstreams during the emergency surgery. Somewhere across the river, his automated defense systems activated with a soft hum.